This conference
In the
will now be
ECC,
recorded.
we have availability check. So availability check is performed in two ways. One is ATP and one is product allocation. So ATP is first come first serve, allocate the first come first serve, available to promise. But if you have a production critical material or a newly launched material, we go for product allocation, where we can receive the goods against that particular characteristic. It could be a customer, it could be sales organization, anything it could be. So in the ECC, the issue is the ATP is simple to use, but does not offer advanced functionality. In the ECC, the ATP, whatever we have, it is simple to use, but no advanced functionality, limited functionality. And any advanced functionality, we used to have it in the APO module as a GATP, Global Available to Promise. But as I told you, APO is the most complex module in SAP. And so even though it offers the advanced functionality, it's very complex to use and it's a separate license altogether, right? So that is how the landscape is. So in the ECC, we have ATP with limited functionality. In the APO, we have a GATP with advanced functionality but complex to use. But today, the ERP is on S4 HANA, and SAP was simplifying all the modules and bringing onto S4 HANA, right? So in this process, what SAP has done is whatever the sub areas we have in APO, like GATP, demand management, PPDS, advanced planning, SAP has broken down into separate licenses. So coming to this for HANA, we have our ERP plus AATP, advanced ATP. This AATP is nothing but the same GATP with a separate license in S4 HANA. So AATP in S4 HANA now is simple to implement and offers the advanced functionality. This works only on Fiori. Okay, this AATP works only on Fiori, not on GUI. And it's a separate license. You may or may not see this in your project because this is relevant only with the set license. So whatever the ATP we have in the ECC, that is called as a classic ATP in S/4HANA, and it works exactly the same as ECC, except one or two functionality change, that the checking group daily requirement, and there is one configuration like block other users. There used to be second configuration at step number 2, because today we don't need to block the other users because of the HANA database. So that except these two functionalities, whatever the ATP we have in the ECC, it is exactly the same in S4 HANA and call it as AAT, classic ATP. Apart from classic ATP, we have this advanced ATP, which is a licensed version, works only on the Fiori. So in the SFW5 business functions, the moment you activate this, your ATP will be switched off. So first, if you want to use the AATP, where to start with? So if you want to use the AATP functionality, the first step is, and this AATP is a on-off function in SFW5. Okay, if you later you don't want this AATP, you can just remove and activate only ATP. So any business go for the AATP license, and you want to activate that AATP. So technically it is activated in the SFW5, but functionally it is under sales and distribution, basic functions, availability check and TOR, and TOR, sorry, availability check. Under availability check, we have ATP logic. ATP. Okay. So availability check, ATP and checking group. Checking group. So if you are going to the checking group, we know that, right? It is 0102, and actually the B is absolute, that is daily requirement total sales. So this is absolute, this is no more available. That's the reason you see everything as A today. Only individual requirement is absolute. Sorry, only individual requirement is available. So now, if you want to go for AATP, you see on the right extreme, we have something called as advanced ATP. If you see in the ECC, you will not find it. You don't see this column. Now, the checking group for AATP is Y1, individual requirement. If you see in the ECC system, this checking group Y1, it will be having a description called as GATP. It is called as GATP. So, but now it is individual requirement, and here we need to activate this AATP against the checking group Y1. It has to be activated. So the reason now your AATP will be activated. So the moment AATP is active, the rest of all the configuration for AATP, rest all the configuration for this AATP, we see it under cross application components. So once we go to this cross application components, in the cross application components, here where we see the complete licensed AATP. Right? And once you expand this, here we have by default the ATP, sorry, ATP, product allocation, STO, everything, TOR, all the configuration related to the ATP, you see it here by default. So TOR, we have the steps, right? Requirement class, requirement type, or availability check. We have various steps. So everything you will be seeing here. Delivery sales order. You can see requirement class, requirement type, default for sales areas. So or schedule prerequisite. So everything related to the ATP configuration, whatever we have, we see it here. This is our TOR configuration. Then we have the configuration for STO, every settings, whether you want to perform availability check. In the ECC, we have only option for at the plant level. Today, we have option at the storage location as well. So these are the standard configuration for availability check, which is standard even in the ECC. Only thing is today we have a different node and steps one or two are here and there, but rest everything is same. But what is more important here in the ATP is what is more important here in the AATP is product allocation and backorder processing, which is something new in S4 HANA. So product allocation, we have it in the ECC, but a little complex to use the functionality. Initially, even customers go with product allocation, but later, because of its complexity and maintenance, they usually don't use it. Likewise, backorder processing. Backorder processing, the concept in S4 in the ECC is very limited because it is pretty simple, right? One soft sequence saying that if a customer is a low priority, cancel the quantities, and if a high priority, give it to the customer. So in the customer master shipping tab, we have a field called as delivery priority under the shipping tab. And in the shipping tab delivery priority, we mentioned that what is the customer's delivery priority, which will help us to do backorder processing. If it is a low priority customer, we cancel it. If it is a high priority customer, we assign it. That is only the subsequence, right? But that may not achieve the purpose of backorder processing. So SAP has come up with the advanced backorder processing today, which is on a strategy or bucket concept, we call it. We call it as. So first, let's see what is product allocation. So here in the configuration setting, we can only say whether you want to go with this product allocation, yes or no. Activate product allocation. And here in the activate product allocation, we have an option. Yes or no, whether you want to activate it or no. So once this product allocation is active, rest all the configuration of this product allocation is only on Fiori. Okay, this will be only on the Fiori. So let's go to Fiori. So if you want to add this Fiori app, so it is the same role like the sales apps, what we get it, right? SAP underscore BR underscore internal underscore sales rep. That is the same role which will give you these apps. So going to this product allocation. So the role Fiori of SAP underscore BR underscore internal sales rep will give you all these apps. Likewise, product allocation. And once we go to the product allocation, there are some 6 apps related to product allocation. So product, so in S4 HANA, if you notice from the like every year they give new versions, right? So initially SAP has addressed all the core modules very well, but that means if a new version come, you may not see much of change in the SD part. That means core SD, we don't see much of change. But what is being changed in SD, let's say in the new version, it might be AATP. AATP is a still evolving functionality. SAP introduced it in 2016, and later on in 2020, in 2019, it has come up with a major update for AATP. Since then, again, it is same. So, whatever the study material we have, only go through for the concept purpose. Don't follow the because at that time we have only 3 apps. We don't have 4 apps at that time. It was only 3 apps. six apps doesn't mean SAP has given any additional functionality, but what they have done is they have simplified the three apps, whatever the functionality we have, they have more simplified it, but nothing much of like noticeable functionality. They more simplified the concept. Okay. So concept wise, you can go to the particular study material document, but configuration, please don't refer to it. Go with only this video. So first thing here is managing the characteristics. So what is characteristics? The characteristic is against what parameter you want to reserve this material. The characteristic can be a customer, can be a customer group, can be a sales organization, can be a distribution channel, anything it could be, a company code, whatever it is against what you want to reserve this particular material. So that is characteristic. Actually, this characteristic is still part of configure product allocation in the old system. That means in the older version, these both are same apps. But now SAP has bring that particular characteristic out of this app and given a separate characteristic here, saying that it should be like all the characteristic catalog can be here. If not, still even today we can maintain a characteristic here. So let me take you to this first characteristic. This will take a little time to open, so be patient for this session. Yeah. So we could choose which transaction. Like let's say if I go with the sales order. So this is what characteristics. So click add and we will be able to see various characteristics. So yeah, we could reserve against any of these characteristics. There are much more is even available. If you notice here, so there is much more even available. So there are total 127 characteristics what you could see here. And within that again, there will be some sub characteristics as well, right? So customer group, that's what I want to select. For the base sales order product allocation, I'm selecting the characteristic which is customer group. So that's it. Once we select a characteristic, come back and go to the configure product allocation. Click on, if you want to see already existing product allocation objects, what is there in the system, you can click on go. So it will show you all the existing characteristics available, or else you can click on create and we can create a new characteristic, sorry, a new product allocation object. And you see, I was talking about characteristics, right? Even here we can maintain it. But what SAP has done is it has pulled out, it has not taken out the functionality, but they have created a separate app for characteristic. So in the new version, if you notice something change, it doesn't mean it's altogether a new functionality. It may be the same functionality, but more simplified. So I'll just give a product allocation object. I'll call it as PAL19, today's date. The description is also same. What is more important here is unit of measures. This is nothing but the sales unit, which we maintain in the material master sales org one tab. We have that sales unit, right? It has to match. So what is difference between this product allocation in the ECC and S4 HANA is in the S4 in the S4 in the ECC we configure the product allocation and assign the product allocation object to material, right? In the middle master basic data one tab, we have product allocation, and that is where we assign the product allocation object. But here in S4 HANA, we assign material to product allocation object, vice versa. Okay. It's not the product allocation object to material, it is material to product allocation. So system will cross-check this particular again, even though you enter something random and skip it. In the next step, again, system will validate the sales unit. So make sure before you set up this, the sales unit of the material master should match with this particular units. So I'm taking something random here. I'll take it as maybe pieces. Then what should be the period type? How you want to allocate the product allocate? Whether it's a daily, weekly, monthly, or quarter, calendar year, how the product allocation should happen. So I'll take it as monthly. That means monthly I want to reserve 100 quantity against the characteristic. My characteristic is customer group. So against that customer group, I want to assign monthly 100 quantity. That's what I want to reserve. Right? Time zone, requested delivery date, these are standard. Then the purpose where you want to use this sales order. If you check in the document I provided, you will not see the second option, STO, stock transport. This was added only in 2019. There was a major update for AATP in 2019, and then they have added this. If not before, we don't have at the STO level, we have only sales order level. So depending upon the requirement, either STO or either sales order. So we are going with the sales order. So select, save it. So we are done with our product allocation object. So we have created a product allocation object, and we have selected our allocation should be monthly, right? Now let's go to characteristic. Click on edit, add. So customer group. So that's a characteristic we are assigning to our product allocation object, and save it. So we want to reserve the materials against customer group, but it could be any choice on the business. It could be individual customer against the sales organization level, account group, anything it could be. So this is a step number one, configuring the product allocation object. Then manage product allocation planning data. So once you're in the screen, manage product allocation data. So click on go so that we could see our PL object. So this is our PL object 19. Select this. So now we could click on edit. So now we can click on add. So whatever against what we need to reserve against customer group. That is what the characteristic we selected. So mention that particular account group. Say I take an account group as 01 and the allocation because we have chosen month wise allocation, right? The period. So 100 I want to reserve against every month. So while practicing, you just take month wise, don't take week wise. Too many records to be maintained. right? And yeah, you can either switch on, switch off this particular, like now it is active. You can change the status to inactive or constraint status, like how it should be. So we are saying that as in sequence, right? You could change it. This all we could control here and once save it. So product allocation data has been maintained, mentioning that against this customer group, we want to maintain 100 quantity monthly. Come back. Then manage product allocation sequence. So once we are here, just click on create, create. I told you, right, the consumption unit system will again will validate. So whatever we have it in the first screen, it should be the same. And this is mandatory field. So I'll take my product allocation object to the same name, PAL19. Then consumption unit, I'll take the same PC. Backward consumption and forward consumption. So let's say we have months, January, February, March, April. Like this, we have months, right? And our allocation is on monthly wise. And every month we have given 100 quantity, right? Every period we given 100 quantity. So backward consumption and forward consumption. That is, let's assume you are in current month of May. Sorry, okay, I'll take April, May, and June as well. So current month we are in May. January, all the 100 quantities completed. February, all the 100 quantities completed. In March, 80 quantity is consumed, 20 quantity is remaining. And in April, all the 100 quantity is consumed. So this backward consumption, forward consumption tells that go backwards. Like you can give a number here. Let's say if I put 2 months, that means you're telling like go 2 periods backward and check if any material is available. Okay, if I take 4, then it will go and check backwards 4. In the last 4 periods, if any material is available, then even we can take that into the current month. Similarly, forward, like if I put 2, you are telling system go forward and check if material is available, then consume it in this particular month. So consumption strategy here we can tell system like how it should be, whether it should be forward and backward, and the number of months you can mention so that system knows that how many months backward it should go and how many months forward it should go, and confirm the quantity for the present period and past period allowed. If the past period it is not at closed, because we have two consumptions. One is restricted and unrestricted. If it is restricted, system will take quantity only from the reserved, that 100 quantity. Unrestricted means it will take it from that particular reserved quantity, and if it is something available from the unrestricted stock also it could take it. So past period allowed if the past period it is not at closed, because as we know in the material master, we we need to close the previous period and open the new period for the stock, right? So if the past period is allowed, that the system will check if any stock is available in the past period and it could consume from there. So here where we can mention, you can give the numbers like how many months it should be, or you can leave it zero. If you want to restrict it only to that particular month, save it. Maybe here only in this screen, if you face some error over the concept, it should be only in this screen. Yeah, something is missing. Yeah, we have not assigned a PL object. Yeah, this is only the error what you'll be facing here. So where do we assign that? here. Select this, or you just click on this arrow. Yeah, here where we need to select what is our product allocation object and assign to this consumption strategy. Ours is Pal 19, right? And allocation rate 100%. Constraint, restricted availability. So take only from the allocated quantity or unrestricted availability, and validity. Apply, save it. So allocation sequence, the strategy of the sequence also is completed. So manage product allocation sequence also completed. Then last is assign product to product allocation. So this is what the difference between the ECC product allocation and S4HANA. In the S4HANA, it is vice versa. We assign product allocation to product in the material master, but here we assign product to product allocation. So going to assign product to product allocation. So once we are in the screen, just click on go, select your product allocation object, edit, add, and give the particular material. Let's say I give TG10, the material what I want to add, and which plant it is, 1710. So this may throw an error because my sales unit is different. And you can also have a fallback variant. Let's say if this material is not available in this plant, you can choose another plant. You have an add option to add a fallback variant. So you can mention the same material in the different plant. So let me click on save. Okay, now it has taken. So it's pieces, that's correct. So in this plant, right? So this is what the configuration for product allocations. Now we have reserved the material in pieces. This is very important consumption unit. Always cross check with this. And what material and which plant it has to be reserved. There is a maintenance app for this for the users. Product allocation overview. This shows the complete dashboard for product allocation. It shows the load of consumption and everything. Takes a little time to open. Okay, this takes little time to open. By the time what we'll do is we'll try to create an order and check. Mostly because that's a TG10 is a third party material in the system. That is a third party material. Let me check anyway. But I'll show you where exactly system or you can identify whether it has taken from the product allocation or not. How to identify, I'll show you. Because this customer group also should match. TG10, one quantity. The third party material system will trigger a PO. Yeah, a PO is triggered because it's a third party material plant here. Correct. Let us continue. Okay, order reference system. Okay, order is created, right? So let us go to change mode. So how do we know whether this system has taken the quantity from product allocation or not? We could check in the availability overview. Check item availability. Yeah, this is it is like a third party material, right? So it's still doing the purchase order in the back end. But if not, right here, even system is giving not giving an option for other plant and this thing because it's a third party material. But if it is our internal material, then system would show us like where it is. But I'll show you a screen from the Google how or where we could identify. In the same availability overview, we can check that. Yeah, you see this? There's a screen where we are now, availability. Let me open. Yeah, so here you're able to see, right? Or you want me to zoom in?
Please zoom in.
Yeah. So this is the same availability control, whatever we were checking, right? Where we have one-time delivery, delivery proposal, all these options. So here, complete delivery, delivery proposal, continue, other plant, we'll be having all the options, right? So in the same screen, if you will never see this product allocation by default. If it's a standard material, you will never see this. But if the material is consumed from the product allocation, then system will add up this and show you that this material is consumed from product confirmation, and it will also show you what is the PAL object and how much quantity is reserved, how much is left out. Everything it will show you here in this screen, right? So if any order, if you want to check whether it is confirmed through product allocation or not, so here where we could find out. Maybe while you're practicing, try to have it as a standard material, tan material. This is not a tan what we created. It's a third party material. So system is triggering that PO. Maybe let me try this way. One moment. Let me change the item category and try. This may take time, but let me try this way. But make sure it is an internal item. But configuration wise, whatever we have discussed is the same, but make sure the consumption unit is correct while you are doing. And if the consumption unit is correct, then system will be able to get the quantity from product allocation. Right? That means that's not a mandatory field. Let me enter, save it. Now it is 10. So yes, you see now we got that product allocation. Okay, now we got the product allocation, and if I go to product allocation, yeah, PAL 19 is my PL object, and you could see it has confirmed from one quantity, right? We have taken it has taken from my PAL 19. So this will be possible